Now, one of my favorite things in Unity is the gizmo setup. It makes it really easy for me to tell what's going on with my characters and my other objects without having to try to figure it out and hold it all in my head. So what we're going to add now to our Ladybug are just a few gizmos for the ray casts that it's doing. Right now it does a ray cast forward, but we're going to need another ray cast that goes downward to check for the ground as well. And I want to make that all visualized. And if you've run into any issues in the last section, it should also help you see exactly what's going on with your Ladybug. So let's open up our Ladybug script and we're going to add an onDraw gizmo. So I'm going to do this right after awake. I'm going to get rid of this update comment because I already know that update's called once per frame, and I'll put in an onDraw gizmos. Now I'm going to delete that private keyword, and then we're going to draw a ray or a line for our ray cast. So I'm going to get this code here for our offset and our origin, and I'm going to copy it into onDraw gizmos. Then right below it, we'll do a gizmos.drawLine, which will be essentially like drawing a ray. It's going to give us our origin or start at our origin. And then it's going to go in some direction or to a destination. So what we want to do is our origin plus our direction times our raycast distance. Now my direction got wrong in there. I got the uppercase thing. I want to lowercase my underscore direction so that we're actually drawing in the correct direction times our distance. And now if I save this off, I expect that it's not going to work. Now, there's a good reason for it. Let's go check it out and see what that reason is. So we'll jump into Unity, and then when it doesn't work, we'll go look at the error console. Here it goes. So any second now, I don't see any lines coming out of here. Maybe it's just because it's blue or something, but no, the actual reason is, if we look at our console right here, we have an unassigned reference exception. The variable collider of Ladybug has not been assigned. And if I double click on it and look at the code, you might be able to figure out why. Think about this for a moment and see if you know the reason that the collider is null here and not being found in the gizmos. If you've thought about it, you probably realize that the actual reason for this is that our collider is cached in awake, and we can't use this cached reference to it if it's saved off in awake. So we've got two options. We can either move this to onValidate so that we save all of these off and serialize those fields and we don't have to grab them in awake, or we can just grab this collider at gizmo draw time, which will work just as fine. So I'm going to copy the get component part right here, collider 2D, copy it and paste it over the reference to the collider. This is good enough for now, and until we get to the point where we've got ridiculous numbers of gizmos drawing, we're never going to notice this get component call. Changing the way that we serialize this is probably a bigger jump than we need to make right now for there will really be no noticeable performance benefit. So we're going to save, come back into Unity and hit clear, and if it recompiles, we should see it update. Let's go back in and let's change the color of our gizmo first. Right here on line 29, we'll say gizmos.color equals, and we could use yellow. I want to use red because I think that red shows up really well. So we'll change the color to red, go back into Unity, let it recompile. There we go. And then we expect to see a laser beam or a gizmo ray just shooting right out of the front. Let's see. Oh, there it is. I just missed it. I was blind because the ray is right up here. So the reason that it's up here, by the way, and if you were curious about that, is that we're using the center or the origin X value of our character to shoot out of instead of the actual kind of center of our sprite or the center of our collider's height. So there's the ray. It just happens to be on a grid line. If I press play, go into scene view, you should see it moving around. Let's watch. There it goes, and let's watch it in scene view. Now you can see that red line, and as soon as the red line touches, it turns around. So that's our ray that we're using, and we've got a nice visualization for it. Now, before we complicate this with our second ray that's going down, let's check in our code that we've added gizmos for our Ladybug ray. Added gizmos for Ladybug raycast, and check that in.